A Larchmont fire displaces some families.
Beeline bus fares may rise.
Preliminary plans for Flint Park are discussed.
A new information hotline may hit our area.
A Mamaroneck man is accused of theft.
And we'll have details about a cooking fundraiser to benefit children of those lost on 9/11. We have those stories and more right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehmer.
And I'm Alicia Myro. Our top story: tenants of an apartment building at 17 Addison Avenue are still coming to grips with a fire that left them temporarily homeless Thursday, January 16th. The Larchmont Fire Department says an electrical malfunction caused the blaze, which displaced 20 families from their homes. The building is located just off Larchmont Avenue in the village. The village police, fire department, and Red Cross came together to help the tenants. Thanks to a speedy response, the fire did not have time to spread, and damage was minimized to the top floor, affecting just 2 apartments. All residents were evacuated because of no heat or water service, but building personnel and crews worked all day so most tenants could return to their homes. The American Red Cross in Westchester provided food, clothing, and emergency housing for many residents, which included more than 40 adults and 3 children. It is estimated that the relief work will total between $12,000 and $18,000. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
A Mamaroneck man, Ronald C. Greenland, 39 of 275 5th Street, has had some problems with the law recently. Greenland faces harassment and endangering the welfare of child charges, both misdemeanors. In Mamaroneck, he is accused of threatening an off-duty police officer of the Mamaroneck police force and doing so in front of the officer's 5-year-old son. In addition, Greenland was caught in Pelham in possession of a stolen U-Haul trailer. And in the trailer, Greenland was moving a car that contained automotive parts on which the vehicle identification number had been altered. Possession of a stolen property and the forgery of the vehicle identification numbers are both felonies, and Greenland is facing those charges in Pelham.
Well, predatory lending has become widespread in Westchester County, and Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray has the details about this dilemma.
Elaine Price, head of Westchester County Department of Consumer Protection, has been informing residents of predatory lending practices. Ms. Price wants everyone to be aware of the unfair and somewhat illegal lending schemes in the county. The residents who suffer from these lending schemes are most often senior citizens and minority homeowners. Ms. Price says they target victims who are typically real estate rich and cash poor. Ms. Price informs us that some home improvement contractors convince seniors that they can refigure their homes so that they can rent out areas. The contractor sets up the loan with a banker, and the homeowner usually uses their house as collateral. However, the interest rate is very often higher than the usual. There are hidden fees and harsh terms. Sometimes the originating institution sells the loan to a distant buyer of loans. For more information, call 995-2155. We will try to have Ms. Price come in and discuss this important issue with us. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
Even though the Republican Party in Larchmont is waiting to officially announce their candidates at the caucus on January 28th, Larchmont Village trustee Michael Weiner has mentioned that he's looking forward to running for a full term in March. As we reported last week, the Democrats have announced their slate, which included Ann McAndrews and Jeff Young for trustee and incumbent Jerry Bernstein for village justice. With 2 trustee seats and 1 village justice post open and a 4-to-1 Republican board, many are anxious to know who'll be running. Trustees are elected to an unpaid 2-year term, while village justices serve a 4-year term and receive $17,000. Weiner is a vice president at Merrill Lynch, who, after losing the election in 2002, was appointed to the board by Mayor Ken Bialo to complete his trustee term. We'll be sure to bring the candidates in for a special election program as the March 18th election date approaches.
It's been a common sight in Mamaronec's Columbus Park, day laborers congregating in the morning to wait for contractors who pick them up for day jobs. The Hispanic Resource Center of Larchmont and Mamaroneck is now trying to set up a meeting place that could also function as a community center for these residents. About 80 to 120 laborers go to Columbus Park each morning looking for a job. Harold Glasso, the director of the Hispanic Resource Center of Larchmont and Mamaroneck, told the New York Times, quote, "I don't have a single day when all the workers who come to the park are employed. So instead of having those people who don't get work standing doing nothing, we could set up a non-for-profit company that could get jobs and then hire them." Mamaroneck Mayor Philip Trifoletti is very much in favor of finding a place for the day laborers. However, it is difficult to locate such a place that is large enough at a reasonable cost.
Many residents were in attendance at Larchmont Village's board meeting on January 13th to hear from Monroe Eberlin, a consultant involved in New Rochelle's downtown revitalization, speak about Flint Park. Having finally received a grant from the state's Environmental Protection Fund this past fall in the amount of $125,375, Larchmont residents are anxious to put the money to good use in a timely fashion. The grant money is to be used to expand and improve playing fields, restore native plant life, and provide waterfront access and visibility at the park. Eberlin's design presented at the meeting incorporated suggestions from groups such as the Flint Park Conservancy, Parks and Trees Committee, Coastal Zone Management Commission, and even Little League and soccer organizations. Many ideas include additional parking, a path along the water, 2 baseball diamonds, and the possibility of 2 soccer fields. The meeting was a great opportunity to raise questions and concerns. According to Eberlin, the cost could be as much as $500,000, well above the grant money to be received. No decisions will be made yet. Instead, representatives from the many organizations at the meeting will report back with feedback they've gathered to provide further guidance to the consultant. We'll, of course, keep you updated.
So we don't really have a timeline yet when this upgrading of Flint Park is going to happen.
No, not yet, but you know, it looks good. It'll be very attractive when it's done.
It looks like a good and exciting project.
It does.
To tell us about a cooking fundraiser to benefit children of those lost on September 11th, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck community news reporter Christina Bolger.
Find Friends Indeed, a nonprofit organization established to help Larchmont and Mamaroneck families who lost a loved one during the 9/11 tragedy, are teaming up with the Larchmont Rotary Club and sponsoring an exciting fundraiser to be held at the Larchmont Yacht Club on February 1st. The funds raised will go to college accounts for children in Larchmont and Mamaroneck who lost a parent in the World Trade Center attack. The evening will begin with a cash bar at 6 p.m., following at 7 p.m. a cooking demonstration by Larchmont Yacht Club's talented chef, Rob Rayoni. The evening will continue with dinner and a silent auction at 7:30 p.m. A glass of wine will be included with your delicious dinner. Reservations are required and must be made by January 30th. Please call Marion White of the Larchmont Rotary Club at 834-0701. That number again, 834-0701. The cost of this wonderful fundraising event is only $65 per person. If you'd like to make a donation to Find Friends Indeed, you can contact Bob Meglio at 262-8047. That's 262-8047. Reporting for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
Well, it might be just the time to pamper yourself. Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel visited a new day spa in Mamaroneck. Here she is with an on-site visit and interview about this new establishment.
During this very cold season, I found a great way to warm up and drift away. That's right. The newest place to open in Mamaroneck at 126 Library Lane is where you'll find the Drift Away Spa. To soothe your senses, stimulate your muscles, and feel really good, the Drift Away Spa offers a great experience for women and men. So come with me now and meet Beth. I am here with Beth Leon at the Drift Away Spa in Mamaroneck. Beth, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to welcome you to the community and also find out about what it is that you've been doing that brought you to open up a location as beautiful as this is.
Well, I have been working in this area for a while, but I realized that it was time for me to open up my own place with the help of family and relatives, of course. And I started looking, and I thought that Mamaroneck would be a nice place to do it.
Well, I love Mamaroneck, and people in the community now will have a place to come for feeling good about yourself, a sense of wellness, getting facials, massages. I was reading your pamphlet here of the many things that they offer here. All things, I mean, even down to getting your nails done if need be. But one of the things I was thinking is you're right down the block from the Emmeline Theater. And how nice would that be on a night when you're going out to see a wonderful show, to come here first and get yourself all pampered and taken care of and feeling good.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, sounds like fun, doesn't it?
It is.
Also, you were saying that a lot of your clients have been with you for years.
Yes.
And some of the things that you do here, would you tell me a little bit about some of the things that you do offer?
Well, we offer all kinds of skin treatments. Personally, I do facials. I also do eyelash tinting, which is very nice. It's something that it makes a dramatic change on someone's face, and they really love that. We do body treatments, body wraps. Especially now with this kind of weather, it's good to feel wrapped and warm with different things applied to your body that will make you feel good. It will exfoliate your skin, and it will just give you a nice sensation altogether.
Well, not only are the treatments a nice sensation, but when you come into this spa, as you will see from some of the footage that I've taken, it's a beautiful place with soft music and lovely aromas in the air. It just smells really nice in here. And it's comfortable and relaxed. So a sense of well-being, feeling good about yourself, and just really, this is an addition to the community. There is no place around here quite like this.
Thank you. That's nice to hear.
Well, thank you for bringing this to us. And I urge all of you to please come over here and meet Beth and partake in some of the wonderful things that she is offering to our community now. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
As of the taping of this program, a public hearing was to be held at the Westchester County Center to discuss the proposal to raise Westchester County B-Line bus fares from $1.40 to $1.75. The fare increase would be the first increase since 1996. With the cost of fuel, labor, and insurance rising over the years, it may seem inevitable. And without the increase, Westchester may be faced with cutbacks, including the elimination of routes and increased waiting times. If a fare hike is approved, the price of monthly passes and discount tickets would also rise. Most monthly pass users now pay 83 cents a ride, or $50 a month. Their cost would rise to $75 per month. The express bus from White Plains to Manhattan would go up to $7 from $5, or $200 per month. It is interesting to note that even though the county is not required to hold a public hearing before implementing new fares, the Department of Transportation likes to seek input.
Like the rest of the country, Westchester has experienced a slower economy over the last 2 years. However, the relocation of companies from New York City and specifically Manhattan to the county has eased the economic slowdown quite a bit. Westchester County's unemployment rate was at 3.7% in November, which was 0.1% lower than the rate for the previous November. It was also well below New York City's rate of 8% and New York State's rate of 5.9%. Morgan Stanley recently announced that it would move about 2,000 jobs to the old Texaco building located in Harrison. Quite a number of Manhattan-based companies have also chosen Westchester County as a backup office site. Westchester County Executive Andrew Spano was quoted in the Journal News saying, "We're benefiting from some of the problems in New York City as we did with Morgan Stanley. We're doing better than the surrounding area." End of quote. Spano made his comments at the Westchester Information Technology Cluster. It will take a while until the county's economy is back to the level of previous years. However, the county is better positioned than many other areas of New York State to reach this level at an earlier time.
The Westchester Arts Council is accepting nominations for its 2003 award to be presented at the Arts Award Luncheon in April at the Rytown Hilton. Presented annually for 27 years, the annual Arts Award ceremony is an opportunity to recognize individuals and organizations for their contribution to the arts in Westchester. Nomination forms are available by calling 914-428-4220, extension 243, or by going on the web to www.westarts.com. That's WESTARTS.com. Nominations must be received by February 11th.
Public libraries are offering free career counseling and life planning. With the details, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Christina Bolger.
Have you been affected by the uncertain economy, the impact of 9/11, or are you simply changing careers, unemployed, re-entering the workforce, or perhaps you are over the age of 50? Well, if your answer is yes to any of these circumstances, put that flipper down. We have good news. Webb's Career and Educational Counseling Service, sponsored by the Westchester Library System, will offer for free 2 types of 8-week programs. One type is a career development seminar focusing on helping adults obtain career and educational information, also explore new career options, and help assess themselves effectively. The second program is called Take Charge, Career/Life Planning After 50. This program will focus on adults over 50 to plan a direction for the next stage of their life. Topics covered will be entrepreneurial ventures, part or full-time work, volunteerism, and learning and leisure opportunities. The programs begin in late February, and participating public libraries are Larchmont, White Plains, Yonkers, Mount Kisco, and Ossining. For more information about specific programs, locations, and dates, you can call Webb's at 674-3612. That number again is 674-3612. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Christina Bolger.
Well, the MHS Tiger Learning Lounge had its grand reopening. Here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter and MHS student Kate Fahey with the report.
Information hotline is going to be coming to Westchester County soon. Such hotlines are important during the times of a disaster or some other major catastrophe or incident. Connecticut already has a 211 info line, and New York State is now gearing up to put such a system in place. Westchester County is going to be part of one of the 10 areas that New York State has been divided into. The county will belong to the Taconic region, which also includes a number of other Hudson Valley counties. According to Ralph Gregory, President and Chief Operational Officer of the United Way of Westchester and Putnam, who was quoted in the Journal News saying, "We are at the point right now where we believe that within the next 5 to 6 months we will be ready to open the doors, so to speak, and activate 211 in this area," end of quote. The organizers of the Taconic 211 area think that they will need about $350,000 for one-time capital expenses and an additional $400,000 for the first year of operation. Funding of the project is still a problem, but major donations have already been received, and the 211 New York Collaborative, as it is called, has also approached Governor Pataki with the goal of asking him to use $2.4 million in federal bioterrorism grants to get the project started.
So if people want to get information, it's not like 911 for emergencies or 411 for regular phone information, but 211 would be for...
Like an info hotline where first of all, it's just 3 numbers that you have to call.
If something occurs, people can find out where to go or get other pertinent information. Very nice.
That's right.
Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray spoke with Fred Barron about a 19th century building in Larchmont you may have heard of. Glenna?
Welcome to the Real Estate Corner. This evening, I'm going to have a discussion about real estate, about real property. It's a very interesting situation right here in the village of Larchmont. Fred Barron, tell us, what is this interesting situation we have in the manor?
Well, what's been going on in the manor is that one of the oldest buildings in the manor was known as now as the Manor Inn, is up for sale. And
how old is this building?
The building was built in 1893, and it was at the time one of the 4 original resort hotels around which the village of Larchmont really grew up.
So it's commercial property?
It is commercial property in a residential area. The other three hotels that had been in the area of the manor, two of them burned down well before World War II, and the fourth, which was known as the Bevan, is now a private home, has been converted into a private home. So this is the last remaining commercial structure that dates back to the 1890s era, around
the gay 90s.
Right, at which time Larchmont grew up and gained much of the character which it retained over the years.
Yes.
So this building is up for sale, and I'm a member of a group called the Committee for the Preservation of the Manor Inn, which wants to buy this building and preserve it both as a historic building and for the purpose which it's been serving for many years now, which is as a residential hotel for senior citizens.
Oh.
And we're afraid that if the building were to be sold to a developer, say, it could well be torn down, private homes be put up, and Larchmont would lose an awful lot of its character, and it would lose some of the seniors that provide a part of the richness of the community.
And it has been functioning as a senior citizen area for many years.
It has been functioning as a hotel, primarily serving the
Since 1893?
No. Early in its existence, it was a general resort type hotel. In the last, I don't know how many years, 30, 40 or so years, it has been a residential hotel, but catering primarily to seniors, though others are welcome to stay there as well. But that is its primary clientele.
It has always been occupied by many people.
Yes. At the moment, actually, I believe it has 35 rooms, of which only 10 to 12 are now currently occupied. Most of the residential numbers being down, mostly because of the uncertainty as the ownership status of the building. Senior citizens don't want to move in or are reluctant to, not knowing what is going to become of the building.
So what is the unique situation here?
Well, the situation is we are trying to put together, as I said, we've put together this group and formed a corporation to try to buy the building. And to this point, we've been unable to come to an arrangement or an agreement with the current owners essentially at a price at which we would be able to buy the inn. And we continue in operation and will continue to be in operation until either we or someone committed to the preservation of the inn buys it, or until, unfortunately, a wrecking ball hits it. But we will...
It never got landmark status.
It does not have landmark status. It does have a letter of eligibility for landmark status from the New York State Department of State, I believe, is responsible for that. So it is eligible for landmark status on a couple of different grounds, but it does not have landmark status, and Larchmont does not have a landmark ordinance under which it could be. There's a state ordinance and federal.
And federal, right.
But the ordinances which have the most impact as far as courts would be local statutes, and there is no local statute, either in the village or in the town of Mamaroneck.
Real estate impacts upon a society or community in multiple ways, and in our area, we have seen how this happens, whether it was with the IKEA, when you had the town coming out, and that was a great impact. Now we have a smaller situation, but real estate is a very important part of America. I thank you, Fred, for coming in.
Thank you, Glenna.
And letting us hear more about this wonderful building that your committee hopes to save, because it is a part of Americana.
Yes,
19th century, 20th century, 21st century Americana.
Thank you again.
Until next week, more information about real estate.
Ever wonder what Amy Schachtel is up to when she's not reporting the news? Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Kate Fahey sat down to speak with her about her work.
Tonight, we're going to learn about how to act naturally. Amy, what is Act Naturally?
Well, Act Naturally is the name of a course that I oversee. You and I got to know each other here on the news, and I think we share a common interest. We both enjoy being on camera and talking and speaking to people. I got involved in what I was doing because I ran into a lot of kids and a lot of young people that want to do just that. They want to be more successful communicators. They want to act natural, not necessarily acting at all, but just to be more comfortable in school, speaking to their friends, and making sure that they're successful communicators.
And what ages do you do this for?
Oh, I've been working with kids as young as 4 and as old as whatever. I've been working with all kids, school-age kids, young adults, and a lot of the people that I work with aspire to a professional acting career, but there's also a large number of kids and young people that I work with that just really want the ease and comfort of speaking clearly, making good eye contact with who they're speaking with, and just really being taken seriously. Have you ever found when you're sitting in front of your class or giving a report, sometimes you're wondering a little bit about how you're being perceived by your classmates?
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, you know, one of the things that I would tell someone in that situation is the more you know about what you want to say, the easier it is to get that message across.
And how long have you been doing this for?
Well, I've been involved in acting in front of the camera almost my whole life. I started as a kid doing commercials and soap operas. And then as I got a little older, I kind of switched from in front of the camera to behind the camera. And I learned production of what the camera is seeing and how I am perceived. And I think I learned more about acting on the other side of the camera than I ever did being in front of the camera. But you know, I kind of intermingled the two. I mean, obviously we're both here because we enjoy being in front of the camera. But it's really a fun sense of yourself, how to have fun with who you are, how to be comfortable with what it is that you're talking about, what it is that you're doing, really getting a better sense of yourself. And what that really comes down to is confidence. And when you know yourself and feel good about yourself, everything just kind of comes easier. So I really wanted to show you this. This is Act Naturally, and this is the course that I oversee. And sometimes I work in Larchmont, sometimes I'm working in Mamaroneck. I even have a studio up in Greenwich, Connecticut. I'm kind of all over the place. I just want to be able to touch as many people as I possibly can, because I feel really strongly about what it is that I'm doing, and I hope I'm helping people, and if they're enjoying it at the same time, even better.
Someone can call to contact you, or?
Are you reading my mind? I think you are. I was just ready to say that. Yes, you can reach me at 914-393-1969 and leave me a message. I'll get back to you, and we'll make a time to meet and see what it is that you want to do, what it is that I do, and how we match up. I feel very strongly that good chemistry and good communication always result in a good end. So that's kind of what I'm all about, what I do, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much, Kate.
Oh, thank you for coming, Amy. Well, you're here anyways, though.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's do the rest of the show, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And I have to mention that Amy also makes beautiful jewelry, like this piece I'm wearing here today. I just love it. And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the new show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers. either behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video, and whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. And we get things started around 7 p.m. and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this new show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Alicia Myro. Oh, and happy birthday to reporter Kate Fahey. Have fun.
Good. So,
That
looks nice. Very nice. Donut shop robbery thwarted in Mamaroneck.
Beeline bus fares rise.
The battle over taxes wages on in Westchester County.
Candidates in Larchmont election are confirmed at caucus.
A second female judge in Mamaroneck makes history.
And we'll have the latest on defibrillators in schools. Those stories and more right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Hello and welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Oehme.
And I'm Alicia Myro. Our top story. Well, police are still searching for the robber who held up the Dunkin' Donuts at 1311 Boston Post Road in Mamaroneck at about 3:50 a.m. Sunday, February 2nd. The quick-thinking cashier called police after the thief demanded money. He fled, but not before he was videotaped by the shop's security camera. Police believe the man responsible for this attempt successfully robbed a Dunkin' Donuts in New Rochelle and committed 2 earlier robberies in New Rochelle and Pelham. The robber has been described as white, possibly in his 40s, thin, about 5'10" to 6 feet tall, and about 150 pounds.
February 3rd marked the tragic end to a woman's life in Mamaroneck after she was struck by a New Haven, Connecticut-bound train at 7:39 p.m. Police did not release the woman's identity or any information about her death, only that she is believed to be a 36-year-old resident. One witness believes it was suicide because he saw her walking on the tracks and then kneel down. MTA police and emergency workers searched the tracks past 9 p.m. as several passengers trying to catch a New York-bound train watched. The incident caused heavy delays as all 4 tracks were closed for a period of time. Passengers aboard the train that struck the woman were unable to exit until 9:25 p.m. and it is estimated there were hundreds of commuters on board. The woman's death represents the 2nd fatality on the railroad this year. Last year, 6 people were killed.
That's a very sad story. Well, state law now requires defibrillators in all schools. With news on how Mamaroneck has implemented these life-saving devices, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Kate Fahey.
A New York state law passed last spring mandates that all schools have defibrillators on the premises in the event of a health emergency. At the Mamaroneck High School board meeting on January 14th, Athletic Director Dave McGuckin unveiled our recently acquired Automated External Defibrillators, or AEDs. There is now at least one AED, often used for heart attack victims, to administer short shock treatment in each of our 6 schools, with 2 additional defibrillators available district-wide. The AEDs are mounted on school walls and positioned carefully so as to maximize accessibility. Each AED is about the size of a laptop and includes electrodes and instructions. Upon opening the AED, an automated voice tells you what to do. Mr. McGuckin reported that well over 200 staff members throughout the district have already received the defibrillator training. More staff will be trained by Homix nurses who lead the courses and provide CPR and defibrillator training. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Kate Fahey.
Well, the candidates are confirmed. The March election season officially began on Tuesday, January 28th, with the announcement of Larchmont's trustee and village justice candidates for both the Republican and Democratic parties. Village trustee Michael Weiner and newcomer Philip Johansson will run on the Republican and independent ticket for trustee. You may recall Weiner's appointment to the board by Mayor Ken Bialo to complete his term after winning the mayoral race. Weiner, a vice president for Merrill Lynch in Manhattan, is seeking a full term as trustee after losing last year. Philip Johansson is a Larchmont native and portfolio manager with Citigroup Asset Management in Stamford, Connecticut. If elected, this would be Johansson's first time in political office. There are two former village trustees running on the Democratic ticket. Ann McAndrews is a part-time tax attorney who lost her bid for mayor last year, and Jeff Young, who once served on the board as a Republican trustee from 1987 to 1991, will run again. Democrat Jerry Bernstein is running for village justice for the third time. A lawyer for Holland & Knight LLP in Manhattan specializing in civil and criminal law, Bernstein runs unopposed. There is currently one Democrat on the board, 3 Republicans, and a Republican mayor. Trustees serve an unpaid 2-year term, and justices serve 4-year terms with payment of $17,000 a year. What are the issues near and dear to the candidates' hearts? We'll be sure to bring you a special election edition of the news show so that you can meet the candidates and make an informed decision.
Westchester County seems to fare better in the current economic climate than other areas of the state and the country. The unemployment rate for December remained unchanged from the previous year at 3.7%. And this was better than the unemployment rate in neighboring Putnam County, which went up a bit but is at a lower level at 3%. Westchester and Putnam counties are still outperforming the state. New York State had an unemployment rate for December of 6.1%, and this was up from 5.5% in December of 2001. The unemployment rate for New York City in December was 8.2%. Westchester County lost jobs in the period in manufacturing and retail and also in construction.
The ongoing saga of property tax versus sales tax increases wages on in Westchester County. In an effort to close the county's budget deficit, county legislators voted last December to raise the sales tax 1 point to avoid raising property taxes. But now it's in the hands of the state, and if they do not approve the increase by February 10th, county legislators may raise property taxes close to 15% and cut spending by $14.9 million. With property taxes in Westchester among the highest in the state, and county sales tax the lowest, supporters welcome the sales tax increase versus the property tax increase. On the other hand, opponents say low and middle class residents who spend a greater proportion of their income will take on the burden of government as opposed to the rich if the sales tax were to increase. The 1% increase would amount to approximately $83 million. If it is not approved by the state, the county will need to increase property taxes and make some significant cuts in spending. Just last week, 8 of the county's state senators and assembly members informed the County Board of Legislators the proposal was, quote, dead. A concern was that some legislators were unsure how the sales tax revenue generated would be divided amongst the municipalities. But others are forging ahead despite the counterposition. We will have an answer at next week's broadcast.
History has been made in Mamaroneck, and to tell us how, here is Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
History was made in Mamaroneck recently when Jean Marie Brescia became the second woman judge in the municipality. Brescia, a resident of Mamaroneck for 9 years, comes with a wealth of experience, including being a judge for the New York State Department of Education, working for the New York State Banking Department and Legal Aid Society of New York in the Juvenile Division and Civil Divisions, and last but not least, teaching as adjunct law professor at the New York Law School. Brescia also volunteers as a Mamaroneck Public Library trustee and works on the Parent-Teacher Association for the Mamaroneck Avenue Elementary School, Hommox Middle School, and Mamaroneck High School. Replacing former judge Martin E. King, who passed away in December, Brescia will fill the part-time position until December 31st and receive $21,000. When Jean Marie Brescia was sworn in as town justice, she joined Judge Dolores Battaglia, the first Mamaroneck woman judge. It is interesting to note that now, for the first time in history, both town judges are women. Congratulations. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
Residents riding on Westchester's B-Line buses will have to dig a little deeper into their pockets and pocketbooks this March. That is when the first fare hike since 1996 will take effect. The fare increase, which was created in part to help the county close a $4.3 million budget gap, will take effect on March 3rd. One-way rides will rise from $1.40 to $1.75. Most other fares will also rise, but some students will get a break. The monthly pass to attend school in Manhattan will be $160, while most other commuters will pay $200. Another break comes to passengers of the 61 and 62 bus routes. They will no longer have to pay surcharges for crossing the Westchester-Bronx border. And if you're making an intra-system transfer, the cost is dropped from 35 cents to 25 cents. For more information on the increases, please call B-Line at 914-813-7777. Happy trails to you.
For many years, Larchmont-based Coughlin Insurance has advised the village of Mamaroneck on its insurance issues. But in 2002, the contract that insurance consultant John Coughlin had was not renewed. He then told the village board that Benjamin Richmond, chairman of the New York-based TMG Group LLC, who was awarded the contract, was operating without a New York State insurance license. He also charged that Richmond was convicted of fraud conspiracy in California. Finally, Coughlin alleged that Richmond had a shared office arrangement with Fore & Son Corporation, a New York-based insurance provider that was awarded the contract by Mamaroneck Village. Richmond admitted that he pleaded guilty in California in December 2000 to wire fraud conspiracy. According to him, he was placed on 5 years probation, was ordered to perform community service. He also lost his insurance license and paid a $20,000 fee. But Richmond says that the work that he does for Mamaroneck Village has nothing to do with his conviction. He also was quoted in the Journal News saying, "I've paid my debt to society. I don't think my name should be dragged in the mud." End of quote. According to the State Insurance Department, Richmond's consulting license was revoked after he pleaded guilty in California, and the license of Richmond's company, TMG Group LLC, expired at the end of October of last year and has not been renewed. The contract that Richmond has with the village pays him $13,000 a year. Richmond has said that his company saved Mamaroneck Village hundreds of thousands of dollars. The bid that Richmond provided was almost $500,000 cheaper than the one that the Coughlin Group submitted. According to Richmond, he got involved with the village in 1995 when Joseph Fraioli, who was village manager at the time, recommended him to the village board. During the village board meeting on Monday, Village Attorney Kevin Plunkett will give further details to the village board on this complaint by Coughlin.
Congratulations go out to the village of Mamaroneck, which recently received a $846,160 Community Development Block Grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Grant money will be used to fund the renovation of Columbus Park street improvements in the Washingtonville section and building facades improvements along Mamaroneck Avenue. The money will also be used to improve sidewalks and curbs along Mamaroneck Boulevard from Columbus Park to Halsted Avenue, where new street lights and trees will be planted along the sidewalks.
Well, that sounds like a very good project, improving our area, improving Mamaroneck. MHS is shooting hoops to raise money for the American Heart Association. To find out when, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Kate Fay.
On Thursday, February 13th, Mamaroneck High School will be hosting its 3rd annual Hoops for Heart charity basketball game. The event is a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, students against faculty. It will be taking place from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Palmer Gym. In the past, the charity has been a huge success due to the generosity of our local community. A $15 donation is recommended for each person who is interested in entering the tournament. If you would like to make a contribution, donations can be made out to the American Heart Association and sent to the Mamaroneck High School Physical Education Office. Attention, Erin Ziegel. If you are interested in playing in the tournament, forms must be handed in by Tuesday, February 11th. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Kate Fahey.
With news from the world of real estate, here's our very own Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter, Glenna Gray.
Welcome to the Real Estate Corner. A little feedback about FSBO. FSBO merely stands for sale by owners. In no way does industry mean to make it sound funny or to insult people. It's just abbreviations. Today we're going to look at real estate as a second career. And we have with us one of our own Mamaroneck residents, Michael. Welcome to the Real Estate Corner. Now, why did you choose real estate as a second career?
First of all, Glenna, thank you for inviting me back.
Oh, please, no, none of that.
The goosebumps I get in this place. I've spent so many years, 33 years teaching, and I love Mamaroneck. And this is an opportunity to get back with the people. And I've always been a people person. I want to be a people person. And what I'm finding out, which I didn't realize before real estate, was that a lot of the young kids that I once coached and taught are now looking for co-ops and condos and starting. And I think my success as a teacher was I never forgot what it meant to be a kid.
Now,
okay,
when you started in your career as real estate, did you realize how much education you had to receive?
No, not at all. I'm back in kindergarten, and that's what I love. It's like, you know, I'm like a little kid with a new toy, and I'm having so much fun.
Now, where did you receive this training?
At the Wyker Training School, which is very intensive. They assign you a mentor. There are classes by the week, and there's 3 different levels. And I've just completed my 3rd level after 4.5 months.
Now, this training you received at this Wyker Training Center, is this mandated by New York State, or it's just for the Wyker?
Just for Wyker.
Just for the Wyker.
There's agents from all over, but Wyker in particular accentuates.
Yes,
so
but in order to get the license, you went to school someplace else.
Yes, yes, the Empire State.
Right, so everyone can get a license, which is issued by the state.
Right.
Now, what I found out, that there's continuing
it never stops.
Education, which is wonderful for the public.
Exactly, exactly. And I find myself, every time I go to the office, I'm learning. I'm a student every single day. And that, to me, is the whole idea of why I'm in the real estate business.
You know, many people, the general public, they don't realize how much training that realtors have to have.
Well, you're dealing with someone's most valuable possession, Glenna. So you have to be able to, you know, understand the process, to be able to cross the T's, dot the I's, and understand what goes into it. I just thought you walk in, you buy a house.
Right.
There's no such thing. There's a buyer agency, seller's agency, dual agency, there's a building inspector, there's an appraiser, and it goes on and on and on. And I feel right now with the training I've received that I'm ready. In fact, my first house is up now, and I'm having a ball.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's a touching story, and I love the lady, and we're going to do well.
Well, you seem to be in love with your new career.
How not? All right, dealing with people, and especially in this village, or the people that I know.
So real estate can be a wonderful second career for you.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, thank you for coming in.
I'll always be a student, and thank you.
Exactly, yes.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay, and good luck.
Thank you. Well, that's it for the Real Estate Corner. Think of real estate as your second career.
Anyone who has a resident railroad commuter parking permit is advised that the permits will expire on February 28, 2003. Renewal applications are in the mail and you should receive them in early February. If you did not have a parking permit yet, you can obtain applications at the village offices, at the regatta, or at the police station. The completed application, a photocopy of the car registration, and a check that is payable to Mamaroneck Village for the parking permit fee, and a stamped, self-addressed return envelope should be sent to the village offices. The cost for a resident commuter permit is $360 per year. In the MTA parking areas, the parking permits are available through All Right Parking. They can be contacted at 1-888-682-7276. The permits for general off-street municipal lots do not expire until May 31st, 2003, and those permits are still available too.
With winter weather still looming, collection efforts are still being made to gather shoes for the needy. With the details on this charitable cause, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
Dr. Charles Morelli has organized Shoes for the Needy, a year-round effort that, with the community's help and donations from you, has collected and distributed over 500 pairs of shoes. This is a need that goes on all year long. So, go through your closets and let someone else fill your shoes. The central drop-off for Shoes for the Needy is 910 East Boston Post Road in Mamaroneck. And remember, shoes for the disadvantaged and homeless can be new, or they can be used, if they're in good condition, for men, women, and children. Thank you for your support. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
Metro-North Commuter Railroad had another good year in 2002. On the New Haven line, ridership increased by 0.5%. That may not sound like much, but total riders in 2002 on the red line were 33,105,000. On-time performance on the whole system also improved. A train is on time when it arrives within 5 minutes and 59 seconds within the scheduled arrival time. The railroad was able to improve its system-wide arrival record by almost 1 percentage point. The Hudson line has the best arrival record. Unfortunately, our line, the New Haven line, continues to have the worst record of all Metro-North lines. The railroad's president, Peter Canito, told the Journal News, quote, "We had a great year last year. We've added more trains. We can now have trains on every line, half an hour on all 3 lines. It's easier to use us. As a result of that, more people are using us instead of driving in. We have increased not only ridership, but market share. People are satisfied with the service." End of quote.
Well, it'd be nice to not be in last place out of 3 lines for 1 year.
We just seem to stick in last place
I know. Well, thank you, Sven, for that report. And in addition to your story, it's important to note that customers traveling from the Larchmont train station on weekends will no longer be able to purchase tickets at the counter. In an effort to save money, Metro-North Railroad has eliminated weekend ticket agent sales at 9 Westchester County train stations, including Larchmont. And when ticket windows are closed, so are the station waiting rooms and bathrooms. But don't be dismayed. Passengers still can buy tickets before boarding by using ticket vending machines.
We've had a couple of snowstorms over the last couple of weeks. Businesses and homeowners are reminded that they must keep the sidewalks in front of their properties clear of snow and ice. The Village of Mamaroneck code that is in force requires snow to be removed 2 hours after snowfall unless it snows during the night, in which event snow should be cleared by 9 a.m. It's also important that fire hydrants are clear of snow and easily accessible.
And who knows, we might still get some snow this season yet.
Absolutely.
Well, there was a recent blood drive held in Larchmont, but donations are still welcome. For the details, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Amy Schachtel.
Once again, Larchmont conducts its annual blood drive. Chief Brian Payne of the Larchmont Fire Department has opened the doors of the firehouse to help people in another way. Chief Payne and the Red Cross are looking for donors of all blood types. Our levels are at their lowest point in 2 years. The fire department graciously offers free transportation from the train station to the firehouse and offers food, juice, and a ride home. To schedule a time to help, please call 0471. Leave your name, number, and preferred time. Once again, our community has always stepped up to the plate in times of need, and here's your chance to do it again. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Amy Schachtel.
For information about the new exhibit at the Orsman Gallery at the Larchmont Public Library, here's Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Vivian Morrow.
The Orsman Gallery at the Larchmont Public Library is currently exhibiting paintings and mixed media by Annie Roberts and The Abstracted Soul, with pastels, watercolors, and oils by Diane Davis. Ms. Roberts' works consist of large acrylic paintings on canvas and smaller works of collage, gouache, and ink on paper. All are interrelated by their use of pattern. A member of the Mamaroneck Artists Guild, Ms. Roberts has been influenced by Japanese prints of the Edo period. Her larger pieces are abstract with reference to water, fire, and movement. The Abstracted Soul exhibit by Diane Davis is an artistic transformation of mind and spirit, dwelling on the vibrant use of color and movement. Her works have been used to illustrate textbooks. She has 2 works in the permanent collection of the Schoenberg Center for Research in Black Culture. This exhibit is free and open to the public and will be on view in the gallery during February at the following times: Monday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Tuesday and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. For further information, call the Larchmont Public Library at 834-2281. That's 834-2281. Come and enjoy color in winter at the Larchmont Public Library. For Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Vivian Mauro.
And we'd like to welcome Vivian as a new volunteer to our program. If you'd like to come and join us, please stay tuned to the end of our program for the details.
Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Kate Fay has the details about the MHS AP Art Show going on through March 7th. Kate?
Have you seen these posters around town? The Mamaroneck High School Art Show is going on right now. Our cameras were there opening night.
Welcome to Mamaroneck High School's Palmer Art Gallery. My name is John Murray, and you're at the opening of the AP Concentration Show. We have 30 AP art students who have special long-term projects on exhibit in the gallery here until March 7th. And I'm holding something in my hand that, although it looks like a work of art, it's actually some of our beautiful refreshments. The opening is going on right now, and I hope you get a glimpse and enjoy what you see.
All right, yeah. Say that on.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show, you can. It's on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We record one show each week, and it's replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the news show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort. We could use a few more volunteers behind the scenes or as a reporter. Or maybe you'd like to shoot video. And whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. And we get things started around 7 p.m., and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions, or some video of an event that you would like us to put on this news show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
Thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Ulmer.
And I'm Alicia Myra. We'll see you next week.
A reward is being offered for the donut shop robber.
Get ready for property taxes to rise in Westchester County.
New plans for cleaning up Long Island Sound are proposed.
A home expansion moratorium in Larchmont may continue.
Elaine Price stops by to discuss consumer pricing.
And Larchmont wishes firefighter Lieutenant Hine well as he heads off for active duty. Those stories and more right here on this edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
Welcome to Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Ulmer.
And I'm Alicia Myro. Our top story? Well, last week we reported on the donut bandit who attempted to rob the Dunkin' Donuts at 1311 Boston Post Road at about 3:50 a.m. Sunday, February 2nd. Police are still searching for the thief who walked away empty-handed in Mamaroneck town, but although unsuccessful in our area, the bandit went on to rob Dunkin' Donut shops in New Rochelle and Pelham. Now, Westchester Crime Stoppers is offering $5,000 for information leading to his arrest. The description of the man who was caught on the surveillance camera is an olive-skinned white male between 5'5" and 5'8" inches tall, 20 to 30 years old, with a thin frame and face, weighing between 130 and 150 pounds. Anyone with information should call the Mamaroneck Town Police at 381-6100 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-898-TIPS.
The Mamaroneck Village is currently working on meeting deadlines of 2 environmental programs that should assist the village in cleaning up Mamaroneck Harbor. Under the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System program, NPDES, all municipalities are required under the Federal Clean Water Act to reduce stormwater pollution through public education and the regulation of construction site runoff. This is in addition to other measures. The second program is the Capacity Management Operations and Maintenance Program, CMOM. Its implementation is thought after to prevent sewage from leaking into the harbor. Under the CMOM program, the 120-year-old sewage system of the village will be mapped. The map will outline where repairs are needed. Village officials hope that with the implementation of the programs, the water quality in Harbor Island Park will improve drastically and will allow people to use the park, beach, and water again soon. Mayor Trifoletti was quoted in the Journal News saying, "Since I've come into office, we've pinpointed the sources of the pollution and we've come down with those 2 plans to rethink it." End of quote.
The Director of Consumer Affairs for Westchester County, Elaine Price, stopped by our studios to speak about consumer pricing. Here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray with the interview.
I'm going to give you a real case of consumer protection now. I went to Radio Shack right here on Mamaroneck Avenue, and I was purchasing a battery. It says $10.99. The young man went to the computer, rings it up, and tells me it's 12 something or the other. And I said, 12 something? I said, how can $10.99 go to 12 something? So he says, oh, the computer says it's $11.99. I said, no, it is $10.99. He says, no, the computer says it's $11.99. So I said to the young man, the customer pays the price that they see. So he's still telling me it's $11.99. I said, call the manager. The manager comes over and tells me the computer says $11.99. And I stood my ground. Was I standing on good, firm ground when I said, this says $10.99?
You bet. Have you ever stood on a shaky ground, Glenna? I ask you. You were on terra firma. Yeah, you were. This little price that you see on here is unique, actually, to Westchester, at least in New York. It's in Westchester, which is unique in New York State. It's called an item pricing law. We have it, actually the state of Massachusetts has it. And the law simply states that every item has to be priced, as you see here. And the reason for the law, and the reason we enforce the law, and the reason we get lots of fines from the enforcement is because we want the consumer to know when the consumer is shopping what the price is, so the consumer doesn't have to wait until he or she's at the counter, and then it's embarrassing if it's too expensive, and you want it at the point that you make the decision. So you see this and you go to the counter and the electric scanner is wrong. It's the electric scanner that we consider wrong, not this, because this law states that this is the accurate, this is the price. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Now, if this price is wrong, they're in violation of our item pricing law. If this and the electric scanner don't match, one or two things has to happen. They're in violation of our item pricing law, or there's an electric scanner inaccuracy, and either way, there's a penalty. So any store that has a price that does not square with the electric scanner, it really is in the store's best interest to make sure that they give the consumer the price that's on here.
The price that they
because
see,
that's why we created the law. And let me tell you, Massachusetts just fined a big box store, very famous big box store, over $2 million.
Wow.
Statewide, because they were not adhering to the item pricing law. And as interestingly, a consumer brought this lawsuit, took it all the way up to the federal courts, and the federal courts upheld the item pricing law. If every time there was a problem with this, and the store could charge what was ever the scanner, it would invalidate this law. And we can't invalidate the law, so we take the position that you're in violation. The best thing to do is give the consumer what the consumer sees here, because our first objective is to enforce the accuracy of this law.
Well, I stood my ground, and I got it for $10.99.
I can't imagine you not standing your ground. They should have seen you coming.
Well, thank you for explaining that to the audience, so everyone will know when they're shopping in Larchmont, Mamaroneck, they do have rights.
Anywhere. And if there is a problem, give us a call, and we will straighten it out with the store.
And that number again?
995-2162.
Thank you, Ely.
Thank you, Glenna.
Well, the decision was made. The state did not pass the sales tax increase of 1%, which leaves the county board to go forward with serious cuts of approximately $14.9 million and an increased property tax of 14.8%. All this must be done to fill a $67 million budget deficit in the 2003 budget, which many legislators had hoped to fill with sales tax revenue. But it's not to be, and now plans are being made to draft up property tax bills and make the necessary cuts, which encompass many layoffs, including 9 assistant district attorneys, 30 police officers, 8 health department employees, and 2 aides to the Board of Legislators. All but the police officers would be laid off within a week. The police officers would be let go on March 1st. $3.6 million that had been budgeted for retroactive pay raises for union workers will also be cut, as well as $2 million in aid to private social service agencies and arts programs that the county funds, and millions more for daycare, drug treatment for inmates at the county jail, and legal aid for the poor.
Mamaroneck Village is working on improving Harbor Island Park, and in addition to improving the water quality that we mentioned before, the village has established a Harbor Island Master Plan Committee that is chaired by Steve Leicht. According to Leicht, the primary goal of the committee is to generate maximum community awareness and also participation by members of the community in putting together a master plan for the improvements in Harbor Island Park. Leicht emphasizes that his committee would try to talk to everybody who uses the park. He was quoted in the Times, "I pretty much guarantee that anyone who lives in the village and uses the park is going to find themselves in one of these stakeholder groups." End of quote. At a meeting of the committee on February 8th, a review of the history of Harbor Island Park was presented. Many people don't know that a part of today's Harbor Island was an island. The areas surrounding the island were filled in the early 1910s by material that was excavated for building the New York City subway system. Under the Federal Works Program in the 1930s, the pavilion and the seawalls that surround the east and west basin were built.
If you'd like to expand your living space in Larchmont, you may have to hold your horses. The village board is voting on February 24th on whether to extend the 6-month moratorium on building. If extended, the ever-growing popularity to expand homes, creating the well-known term bulky house syndrome or McMansions, would cease through April. The decision was made in part because the consultants need more time to develop design guidelines to limit house expansions. After the consultants, Phillips, Price, and Shapiro Associates Incorporated of New York City, present their proposal, the village would then have an opportunity for public hearings. It is interesting to note that many nearby municipalities are dealing with this very same issue. Just recently, we reported on the town of Mamaroneck, which adopted a McMansion law last month. Mamaroneck Town's law came after almost 2 years of research, analysis, and discussion on the issue. Larchmont seems to be following suit, having put the moratorium into effect back in August of 2002 to allow time to study the issue of building variances on the modifications made to houses.
A Larchmont firefighter recently went off to active duty with extra pay. To tell us more about this story, here's Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray.
On February 4th, Lieutenant Rich Hine of the Larchmont Fire Department headed south to Camp Lejeune to start his active duty with the Naval Reserve. The Village of Larchmont Board will continue to pay the lieutenant an income similar to the one he is currently receiving. According to the resolution stated in the Larchmont Gazette, the village trustees wish to honor Lieutenant Hine's military service and lessen any burden on him which results from his activation. In addition, Lieutenant Hine's health insurance costs will be covered. Captain Anderson will be filling in for Lieutenant Hine. In the town of Mamaroneck, police officer Jason Lassiter and Matthew Melrose were activated right after the September 11th, 2001 attack on the World Trade Center. They serve in the Air National Guard. Mamaroneck town has been making up the difference between their military and civilian pay. Supervisor Valerie O'Keefe has stated, the policy of the town is to support our employers and our country's national defense at the same time. May the force be with you. For Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News, I'm Glenna Gray.
It is no time to butt out if you're a smoker. Westchester legislators recently held a second public hearing to determine their next step in a possible smoking ban in most workplaces, including bars. The bill proposed targets places of employment but extends only to indoor workplaces, not outdoor workplaces, such as construction sites. Residential treatment centers, such as nursing homes, would be permitted to allow smoking in designated areas, and hotels could allow it in designated rooms. In addition, private organizations that are staffed only by volunteers, such as an American Legion, could permit it in their buildings. Smoking would also be allowed in tobacco shops and businesses run from the home, except businesses that provide child care or health care. The bill has wide support in the legislature and from the American Cancer Society, but is opposed by the Westchester Rockland chapter of the New York State Restaurant Association, who would say the ban would drive away patrons. We'll keep you updated.
According to data collected by the U.S. Census Bureau, the number of building permits issued for apartments in Westchester County rose by 156% in 2002 compared to 2001. On the other hand, the number of permits for single-family houses that were issued in Westchester was off by 10.4% in 2002 compared to 2001. One of the reasons for the reduction in the number of permits for single-family houses may be the fact that there is less and less open space in Westchester County. Also, the construction of some major apartment buildings in the county has contributed to the rise in apartment. Large apartment buildings have been built or are in the process of being built close to areas that are connected via Metro North to New York City.
With an in-depth look at predatory lending, Larchmont-Mamaroneck Community News reporter Glenna Gray spoke with Director of Consumer Affairs for Westchester County, Elaine Price.
Welcome to the Real Estate Corner. What is your most valuable possession? Your diamonds, your automobile, or the house you live in? What can you put up for collateral? The diamonds, the car, or the house? Last week I told you about predatory lending. I'm going to repeat that again because it's very important, but I have an expert with me today. Welcome, Elaine.
Oh dear, expert am I?
Yes, you are, our former supervisor, and now you are the Director of Consumer Protection for Westchester County.
I am indeed.
I heard at a breakfast, the summit breakfast,
yes,
you were talking about this predatory lending. Would you please explain to our audience, much better than I, what this is about?
Well, it's abusive lending practices, and it costs the homeowner lots of money. It's insidious, it's everywhere. It does target minority communities. It's all over the United States. And it's wrong, but most of it's not illegal, and that's the problem.
Well, what about senior citizens?
Senior citizens, anyone who has a home, they have equity in their home, and if their credit rating, if they think their credit rating isn't great, they'll go to a mortgage broker, and the mortgage broker will say, well, you know, you can't get the 6%, but we can give it to you 4%. And that 4 is anywhere from 9 to 12 to 14% even. And until you get to maybe 15%, it doesn't trip the federal guidelines for being, quote, predatory. So what is happening is that people are spending up to maybe $20,000 more a year in interest rates over 30 years. They shouldn't be doing it.
But why do people seek these loans? If they have their house already, they've paid off the mortgage, what are they doing with these loans?
They're getting home equity. They're sitting there and they see the advertisements for a new family room or a new bathroom or a new garage, and they want to tap into the equity of their homes. Now, some mortgage lenders will give the seniors, they'll say, don't worry, we'll give you whatever you want. We have a home improvement contractor all ready to do the work. And he gives you an estimate that's much higher than it should be. The interest rates are much higher than they should be. And the other thing about abusive lending practices is that they don't look at the person's ability to pay. All they see is the equity in the home.
House.
And they know that if this person can't or won't pay, then they'll be able to foreclose, and they will take the person's home. The person's home that she or he has lived in for many, many years, the only asset the person has, and they take it. And actually, that just happened in New Rochelle about 2 years ago. And by the time we got onto it, it had gone through the courts. And the judge said, oh, this isn't predatory because you never intended to pay. It was a $300,000 loan. She took in $1,000 a month, period. Now, of course, she wasn't going to be able to pay. She was an elderly woman. She didn't quite understand it. They gave her limousine rides to Long Island where the mortgage broker was. And they said that if she got her home improved, she could have tenants come in, and then she would be able to afford it. Well, she never saw the home improvement contractor again. He must have taken the proceeds off the top. The loan was flipped. Suddenly, a Florida concern had it, and then it went over to the Caribbean islands. And how are you going to get at that? And It's not illegal. The worst part of all of this is that it wasn't illegal. So, I have a banker on my Consumer Advisory Council, and I have a lawyer. We will look over some of these loans that carry with them a higher than prime interest rate. And it's subprime, which means the interest rate isn't very good because of a credit history. We'll get them to a mortgage counselor. We'll respect their privacy before they sign. Once you sign,
that's it. Well, do you have a telephone number that
you bet I do.
What's the number?
You bet I do. 995-2162. It's a terrible situation, and there's no signs of it abating.
Right. Well, thank you for coming in and explaining it to us.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Improving the quality of life and government services was on Mayor Ken Bialo's mind as he recently took a look at some of the issues he intends to address this year. Many of his ideas were documented in an article in The Times published by Gannett. Much of what I share here with you is taken directly from the article. Hoping to keep tax increases low, there are still many public improvement projects Mayor Bialo hopes to focus on. The expansion of Flint Park, the Chatsworth Avenue Streetscape project between Addison Street and Boston Post Road, the renovation of Larchmont's Metro North Station, a stormwater regulation plan for Phase 2 of the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System due to the state in March, and the construction of a sanitary sewer overflow tank in Flint Park are all on the mayor's agenda. With the introduction of monthly office hours last year and the opening of positions for residents on local committees, Mayor Bialo may well achieve his goals.
And speaking of plans, in her annual presentation of the state of the town, Town Supervisor Valerie Moore-Keefe listed the accomplishments that were made in 2002. The town is in the process of building a new highway department garage of Myrtle Boulevard. This will be financed by general obligations, bonds, and several other short-term debt issues. The town also continued to work on improving the environment in cooperation with the village of Larchmont. 1,000 tons of yard waste were collected last year. Furthermore, illegal sewer connections were eliminated. This reduced the total amount of water sent to the Mamaroneck sewage treatment plant by more than 100,000 gallons per year. The town spent about $250,000 on redoing sidewalks and resurfacing roads. In an outlook for this year, Valerie Moore-Keefe was quoted in the Journal News saying, "Our conservative budget estimates for expenses and revenues required a modest tax increase, yet maintained all of the current services offered to the community." End of quote. Residents of Mamaroneck Town will see a 5.6% property tax increase in 2003.
Last week, our new reporter Vivian Morrow shared a story about the showing of artists Annie Roberts and Diane Davis's work at the Orsman Gallery in the Larchmont Library. Vivian filmed an interview with the artists at their recent reception. Vivian?
We're here at the Orsman Gallery in the Larchmont Public Library for the opening art reception of Annie Roberts and Diane Davis, two artists that will be exhibiting for the show the entire month of February. The show is called Paintings and Mixed Media by Annie Roberts and The Abstracted Soul with Pastels Oils by Diane Davis. Welcome to the library.
Thank you.
You have a beautiful show going on. I want to tell a little bit about your work. Ms. Roberts' work consists of large acrylic paintings on canvas and smaller works of collage, gouache, and ink on paper. All are interrelated by their use of pattern. The viewer may find a pattern in one work mirrored in another work in a different size. A member of Mamaroneck Artists Guild, Ms. Roberts has been influenced by Japanese prints of the Edo period. Her larger pieces are abstract with reference to water, fire, and movement. I wanted to ask you, Annie, tell me a little bit about your art background. It's so interesting.
Well, I went to school in Manchester School of Art in England, and then I went down to London to do painting, Central School of Art and Design, which is now Central St. Martin's in London. Excuse me, and I specialized in painting. I was very interested in Islamic art, and as you know, Islamic art is highly patterned, very colorful. So I used to take trips to the British Museum and sort of draw up what was there on all the plates and pots and things. So this is a series, about 7 or 8 pictures, called Hindu Colors. And this particular one is the last picture of the series. And what I actually did was I blew some of the patterns up that I'd been working on a scanner. Oh. And that kind of gave me a different scale.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm really dealing with repetition and color and scale, and as you can see, movement. It's a mixture of pearlized inks, Indian ink, and gouache, which is very beautiful when you get it all wet and mushy. Oh. I'm starting off with brush strokes that you can see here, and I'm building up different layers and levels. And that's really what I'm doing. I'm also trying to create the idea of a movement and a pattern that goes on and on.
Yes, it seems to have a life of its own.
This great big dramatic cutout. And then I will put this other little pot in. And then I drew a tree in between, and my husband said it looked like broccoli, which it does, but that's fine.
Broccoli. I really appreciate your artwork. It is something to see, folks, so come on down to the library. Thank you, Annie.
You're welcome.
And we're here with the Abstracted Soul exhibit by Diane Davis. It's an artistic transformation of mind and spirit, dwelling on the vibrant use of color and movement. Her works have been used to illustrate textbooks, and she has 2 works in the permanent collection of the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. Okay, all right, Diane. This is the center of your show. It's called The Abstracted Soul, this piece. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about it. Could you tell us about this work?
Sure. What it is, it's the soul of a person being transformed from the so-called normal way of life into the abstract world, wow, which to me is a total sense of freedom, as free as you could possibly be. Mm-hmm. No holes, no bars, just creating and just feeling the spirit of colors and the spirit of movement.
Mm-hmm. So what are you actually using to create this very colorful abstract painting?
I'm using oils and sand. Mm-hmm. What I do is I often take the sand and I'll blend it with the oil, and I'll brush it on, or other times I might just take the sand and just glob it on, pour it on, and go over it with my brush.
And how long does it take to make such a big painting like this? It's really quite beautiful.
You know, it's so hard to say because I'll work on it. I have to step away and just think about it and what does it need. Maybe it took a couple of months off, and I just stood back and I looked at it and I worked on other projects, and I came back to this probably about a month or 2. Wow.
Wow. That was the wow.
Yeah, that was the wow.
This is a very interesting piece here. It looks like there's a lot of movement and emotion involved in this painting. Where did this come from?
I often listen to music, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just like total quiet.
Right.
But to me, this is like butterflies flying, the wings just flapping, and the beautiful colors that you see in a butterfly. Yes. And it's just gone totally abstract.
It's beautiful, very beautiful. And the one above us here, that is also mood altogether. What actually inspired you to do this painting?
I had this big piece of wood in the house, and I said, you know what, this would be a great piece to do a painting on. So I just thought, I think I'm kind of a moody person.
Right.
Okay, so I said, okay, moods. And then some days are just so mellow and just so kind of quiet.
That's the sun.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, very interesting. So, folks, there is a thinking process involved to all this. We're going to look at one more, okay? Amazing picture. This really looks like it's on fire. What's going on here?
It's a yearning to be, a yearning to achieve whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve. And it's just about just getting there, and the struggle, the moods, the vibrant colors of life.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Diane. So this exhibit is on view at the Orsman Gallery in the Larchmont Public Library during the entire month of February during the following times: Monday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Tuesday and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 12 to 5. So folks, please add some color to your winter. Come on down to the show. This is Vivian Morrow for Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
And just to add on, you may want to take note of Personal Take, an associate members group show with awards being held at the Mamaroneck Artists Guild, located at 2120 Boston Post Road in Larchmont. The show runs from February 12th through March 8th with an opening reception and awards presentation on Saturday, February 22nd from 3 to 5. For additional information, call the gallery at 914-834-1117.
Mayor Trifiletti announced that the streetscape project along Mamaroneck Avenue and the business district is almost completed. He said that the project had cost $1.9 million and was mostly funded through grants. The village is planning to continue the streetscape project along Mamaroneck Avenue to Waverly Avenue. Businesses on this stretch of Mamaroneck Avenue will have the opportunity to apply for funding through the facade improvement project. In addition, the village plans to install new lighting, establish new walkways, and improve landscape in Columbus Park. Mayor Trifiletti also wants to improve the curbs and roads of Grant and Washington Streets and hopes to also do improvements on Madison Street and Center Avenue.
And that's it for this week's edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News.
If you want to see this news show again, you can. It is on every weekday night at 7 p.m. We'll record one show each week, and it is replayed on this channel, LMC-TV, channel 75.
Or if you want to request to see it, you can call LMC-TV after 4 in the afternoon during the week at 698-6808 and ask to see the new show. They'll try to put it on at a time that's convenient for you to watch.
And this reminder, this news program is an all-volunteer effort, and we could use a few more volunteers either behind the scenes or as a reporter, or maybe you'd like to shoot video. Whatever the case, we need you.
In short, if you want to volunteer to help us put this program on, we have something for you to do. Stop by some Thursday night in the LMC-TV studios and see how we do what we do.
The LMC-TV studios are in the Mamaroneck High School, the Palmer Avenue side, just up the stairs across from the landmark Walter's hot dog stand. And we get things started around 7 p.m., and we would love to see you.
Also, if you have any comments or suggestions or some video of an event that you'd like us to put on this new show, bring it to the studio or write to us at Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News in care of LMC-TV, 1 Library Lane, Mamaroneck, New York, 10543.
And thanks again for watching Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. I'm Sven Römer.
And I'm Alicia Myro.
Which music is he using?
Hello and welcome to a special election edition of Larchmont Mamaroneck Community News. We'll be speaking with the candidates for trustee in Larchmont Village today. Democrats Ann McAndrews and Jeff Young, as well as Republican candidates Michael Weiner and Philip Johansson are here in our studio. We'll have an opportunity to find out a little bit about their background, their qualifications, and what they think the important issues are. You may also discover why you should vote for them. The election is Tuesday, March 18th. First up, we have Ann McAndrews.
Well, it's springtime in the village of Larchmont, so that means voting for us. And who might you be?
My name's Ann McAndrews. I'm running for village trustee enthusiastically. I'm a lawyer. I've been in the town and village since 1978, and I have since then been very active locally. I've been president of the League of Women Voters. I've been on zoning boards. I've been on planning boards. I've been active here in LMC-TV. I'm sort of a policy wonk. I love government. It was my major. I took many courses in local government law in law school, and I really like this stuff.
Oh. Well, what are the issues that you see now in the 21st century?
Well, the 21st century has landed all governmental entities really on their heads. The village is a very small political entity, and it's suffering the same problems of budget concerns that every other government agency is. We've got some huge increased costs facing the village, the same as the village of Mamaroneck does, the town will have, the school districts are, and balancing the services that residents have come to expect, good police and fire, the fine library, clean and safe streets, snow removal, garbage removal, clean water, balancing those increased costs off with the cost of those services is what every village board, every town board, every school board is facing. Mm-hmm. We're also at the bottom of the food chain, so you know the pressures are coming down from above. The village tax bill is only about 20% of your tax bill. A school is over 50%, and the town and county take up the difference. But the village is going to be in the same line as the other increases, I'm afraid. The village is very lucky. It's got a comfortable surplus. And a surplus is something like, you know, a big cookie jar that you have. It's not exactly a savings account. It's what you haven't spent over your budgeted expenses over the last many, many, many years, and it's been built up to a nice sum. You save, I think of it as a savings account, but it really isn't. But it's something that is available for two things: unexpected expenses, like a big bill that rolls in that you don't quite expect. It's available to give the village the highest bond rating available to a small village, so your borrowing cost, the interest that you pay, is the lowest possible, and that makes a real difference over 20 years. But when you're faced with a budget, who cares about 20 years? You've got that, you know? Yeah. And so you have to decide with some wisdom how much of this wonderful asset do you want to have for the future, and how much do you want to use towards a big bill, a big increase. How much of that increase is going to be just this year? How much of this increase is going to be overall for the next few years? You know, is this going to be the increased cost of doing business for a local government? Those are the kind of things that are really tussling about.
Well, what would you like to get accomplished or change or do?
Well, you used the right term, getting accomplished. I was on the board from 2000, and under the Democratic administration of Cheryl Louis, one of the real reasons why I want to get back is that I'd like to finish up some things that we started then. The streetscape, that's a fancy term for getting our sidewalks up to snuff. Sidewalks, lighting,
that's for
benches.
Safety primarily, or
no.
Beautifying, beautification?
Safety is a very good side effect of this, but the state of our sidewalks and our streetscape is really a reflection upon us. It's our front yard. The merchants want it because it's helpful for business. It spruces everything up, and they are enthusiastic recipients and participants in the cost of these improvements. That's something that I'd really like to finish up. I'd also like to look at some really intriguing things that are on the horizon, which I think my background is uniquely suited for. I'm sort of a policy wonk. I love government. And I really had to decide whether I wanted to go in the public administration end of things or go on to law school. Well, I chose law school, but I'm still really interested in public administration.
They flow together.
The things that are going to be facing the village over the next hill are really what is adequate staffing for a village of this size? How are we really going to form the government? Meaning the League of Women Voters has a question outstanding now that it's studying in both villages about the length of the term. It's now 2 years. Should it be longer? What are the ramifications of that? Our village treasurer is going to be retiring, and has been in office for many, many years. And now, how does a government a small government handle the loss of somebody who's allegedly part-time treasurer? Should there be more staff and management? Those are the kind of questions that I think I'm very good at approaching because I find them quite intriguing. Beyond the problems that I've mentioned about budgeting, zoning and planning are really the areas where most people get involved in their locality, you know? And I was on a zoning board in the town from the early 80s.
Well, you've done many, many things. I'm listening to all that you've done. And we really are so happy that you came in to tell us all of these things. And we look forward to March 18th.
You bet, the day after St. Patrick's Day.
Start the spring, the day after St. Patrick's Day. Thank you, Anne, for coming in. March 18th is right upon us. What does that mean to you?
It means the walking around, meeting everyone in the village will start slowing down, and there'll be election, and hopefully I've met everyone and heard their concerns, and they've heard what I want to do, and they'll come out and vote for me. So well, March 18th means to me.
There may be some newcomers looking. Who might you be? There are newcomers watching our show.
Well, my name is Jeff Young. I'm running for trustee in the village of Larchmont. I've been a resident of Larchmont for over 20 years. I moved here with my parents and bought my first home here in 1981, I think it was, and been a resident ever since. And had an opportunity to live on both sides of the post road. So I was both in the manor, and I'm living on Palmer Avenue now. I served as trustee between 87 and 91 for 2 terms, was elected then. And I served on a number as liaison to the fire commissioner. I was water commissioner. I served on the various committees before I ran. I was on Parks and Trees, and I was a village deputy prosecutor. So I've been involved. And after I had left the board, I served on the town budget committee and the Larchmont Alarm Review Committee. So I've been on a lot of committees. And I have to say one thing that's taught me when I was serving as trustees, it's taught me the skill of listening. And that's what I think we need in our village. Every level of government needs listeners and hearing the concerns of the residents and what they come forward and talk about and what they want their government people doing for them and what they feel is good for the community.
So you said you'd been on the board before.
Yes.
Now, what are the issues that you see now in the 21st century?
Oh, there's some local and some are much larger. We obviously have a lot of budgetary issues coming at every level of government. And for our village, that means we are under a very tight squeeze. We are the village offers the services. Everyone, the thing of government, it's quite often it's garbage pickup and sewer maintenance and police and fire and all those services we see every day.
Right, and we take for granted.
We take for granted. The trustees in the village are the guardians of those services, and we don't want to have to cut back on those areas, even though there's such pressure on us. So that causes us to want to look at the budget in innovative ways and creative ways. And for instance, maybe we can call on volunteers to serve in some other capacity, such as managing the website, rather than using paid consultants. Because we don't want to have pressures put on even the services like the library and risk having to close a day. We're very fortunate. We have a library that's open 7 days a week.
Yes, that is very fortunate in this community. Now, how do you see working this out? What's the process that you would use in working out some of these ideas that you have?
Well, as I mentioned, using volunteers is very important. I think another issue that's out there is open space and preserving some of it for our future. I think the most important thing in the village and government is not to be short-sighted and to look forward, look down the road, not tomorrow, not this year's budget, but future budgets, future concerns, and try to anticipate those. We all have lovely parks in our village, but one of the loveliest parks is Manor Park, which is not a village park, it's not a public park. It's private.
Right.
But it's probably one of the best pieces of real estate on Long Island Sound.
Right.
Back in the 20s or so, when Larchmont developed, somebody had the foresight to say, let's carve that out and leave it as an open area, as a park, a very passive park, but one I think every resident uses. And I'd like to be able to say that, 80 years from now, I had that foresight and so on. Gee, who carved out that area or that view and that area for open space? And so it's looking forward and not being short-sighted.
Well, your experience you see as a positive. You've forgotten everything then, and there are new issues now, and you're going to face new issues.
Yeah, well, the experience also helps because a lot of issues reappear. Such as David's Island was a very big issue when I was serving in the 87, 91 era.
Right.
And now we had IKEA not too long ago. It's another issue outside our community, but this experience you have on the board and serving on committees and so forth gives you the skills to go forward and approach those. So when they come up again, they may be a different monster, they just have a different head. It's still a monster out there. It's still a challenge. But at least I've had the experience on those large type of issues and approaching them and attacking them.
Now, you told us about Manor Park. What about Flint Park, the municipal?
Flint Park's getting a lot of attention. There's a grant coming in to do some renovations down there, and that's part of the process that I hope to listen to a lot of people what they want. The plan's sort of out there already. We need a lot of input as to what meets the needs of so many people in different multi-use park. I myself would like to see a walkway continued along the waterfronts, our longest waterway, public waterway, to connect up to the town conservation area. And that would be a very lovely greenway with a small green in our own village and connecting with the town.
Oh. So that would involve zoning? And
no, just the marsh area and a very lovely nature area for passive activities for those who like to take a nice walk.
Oh. That sounds very nice. Nice.
Could be done.
And you're looking forward to doing all of this?
Doing this and looking at issues like zoning and streetscapes and tree ordinances and protecting those assets and lighting issues and beautifying, making it safer. There's all sorts of items out there in our 21st century that it's time we take a look at. Some things have been ignored for long enough. So I look forward to getting that opportunity to do that.
So you want everyone to come out and vote?
Everyone come out and vote.
On March 18th?
I'd like them to come out and vote for me. Well, I hope they come out and vote.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
I think I've mentioned about as much as I need to at the moment.
Okay, then thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
I will remind the public again, because I definitely believe in voting. March 18th, Village of Larchmont.
Thank you.